Good morning. Welcome to the Sunday live stream. Today is Sunday, November 2nd. Welcome. How are you? My name is Angela. I'm a software engineer and front-end developer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And on this channel, why am I singing the intro? In St. Paul, Minnesota. On this channel, we practice HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We're pretty much all vanilla all the time around here, not because we don't like libraries and frameworks, but just because we like to practice the basics. That's really it. There's no hidden motivation other than, good old YouTube niche, right? Finding the niche, finding the thing that is somewhat unique about dev YouTube. So I guess there's that. Yeah, I just like to practice. So how are you? How are you doing? We're gonna jump into some vanilla CSS and probably a little bit of JavaScript today, I think. We started working on a new project yesterday called, let's see here, called Ink. Here it is. Here's the Photoshop mockup. I'm using Affinity Photo. Here is a slightly better view of Affinity Photo. I mean, the mockup's a little bit old. I've had it for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. So a lot of the fonts and things aren't working. I have newer versions of Font Awesome, but they still don't work with these older versions, which is totally fine. We can still look at this in preview. We did all of the HTML yesterday, and we gathered all of our assets yesterday. For the most part, we got all of our SVGs. We did the HTML for the entire site. It's a one-page site like I tend to do here. And it went really well. Once again, I'm always really pleased when I can get all of the HTML done in one day. That makes me really happy. I've been able to do that now on a few projects. So now we can spend the rest of our time digging into the CSS and the JavaScript. I also spent some time this morning, look, there's my giant head, doing some image sourcing. So and I did a really good job, if I do say so myself, on optimizing the images. I used Unsplash. And let's see here. So 79, here we'll do, I think I can still put these off to the side. So we've got 79, 65K. I'm looking at the file size. 104, 92, 72, 56, 80, 176K, 94, 115, 113, 84, 64, 100, 74, and these are the photo credits. I try to make sure that I include a plain text file for all the photo credits since they are open source images. So there's that. And, this is a grid with 9 images. So I resized them to be a max width or a max height of 1024 pixels. And I set the value, I think the quality value in Affinity Photo, I used the batch processor at 50%, and that worked really, really well. So, and then the photos are sort of like an Italian theme because these are kind of generic mock-ups, right? There's no color scheme, there's no like imagery, nothing like that really, it's a kind of a blank slate. That's why I like these types of mock-ups. So I just sort of went with like this Italian theme, and I searched on Unsplash for Italian images. So that's what we have. And so the name of this set of design mock-ups is called Ink. I do have it linked down in the description below. I'm going to change the name to Italy because why not? I've never been to Italy. I would love to go to Italy. So there's that. So, and Monique Robinson is here. Good morning, Monique. Welcome. We're so happy to have you. Do me a favor, if you haven't liked the video yet, would you be so kind to do so? It's kind of like when you go over to somebody's house and you wipe your feet on the map. like the video. And if you're not subscribed yet, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe as well. It helps the algorithm, helps me push this type of content out to more people who might be interested in front-end development and who just like to hang out and practice just like the rest of us do. So there's that. Well, okay. That's the intro. That's what I got for the intro. So should we get started with some styling? If you have questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the chat. And let's just see what we can get done today. Honestly, my goal for today is if we could just get the header done and get the header responsive, although we have some prep work to do first, right? We need to figure out what our fonts are going to be because we haven't done any of that yet. Maybe we should make a logo in Affinity Pro. We could make an SVG logo in Affinity Pro. I think that would be fine too. Let's do that. Let's figure out what our fonts are and make a logo. And yeah, then we'll start writing some base styles. We'll see how far we get today. So, but you know, we've seen this film before, haven't we? And we liked the ending because we know how to make a responsive, accessible nav bar. So we've done this lots of times on this channel. We can do it again. So, and Malik Robinson is here. Malik and Monique, not related, just a coincidence. Mods in the chat. Welcome, Malik. We are so happy to have you as usual, of course. So what are our fonts here? Well, let's see. What is this? Is that even, hang on, you're not gonna let me, let's see what this is. Auto select, yes. Logo. Is it a font? No, it's not. So let's see what this is. Playfair display. We can do that. I think we've used Playfair before. Fonts. Playfair display. Right here. All right. I love it when the decisions are made for us. It just makes my job so much easier. I don't mind once in a while like doing the comparison game to figure out what something looks like. I do find that to be a fun little exercise. Sometimes I just want somebody to do it for me. And Lato, beautiful. I'm so down for this. And it's going to be one of those mornings where I'm swiping back and forth because I can't remember where anything is. I think that's it. So let's make a logo. It's not going to have this little, like, what is this? Like a little watercolor mark on the back side. I mean, I could technically do that. I have a scanner. I've got paint. I know how to do that. Maybe I'll make should I make like some little watercolor marks this week? I could definitely do that. One. All right. Maybe I'll do that this week if I'm feeling ambitious. So let's actually make a logo. Oh, and Anike is saying if it's an image, it's better to implement than an SVG. I disagree. I think SVGs are better to implement because they can be embedded and then you don't have an HTTP request to the server. So when it comes to a logo, I would always err on the side of an SVG, but if you mean something different, let me know. But that's how I'm interpreting that comment. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and make an SVG. Italia. Yes, SVG. Oh, okay, so I think we agree. I think we agree. Oh, I think you meant if it's an image, then an SVG is better to implement. Got it. Got it. I'm keeping up. I'm keeping up today. Trying to keep up. Where are you, Playfair? Do I have I have Playfair installed. We'll go 300. And then we need to do convert to curves. So now that's been converted. And then I'm going to, where is it? Clip the canvas, which is like trim. And then I'm going to export as an SVG. 9K, nice. Not that it matters because I'm going to embed it in the document. So we will export and we'll put this in our SVGs, and this is the Italia SVG. Love it. And then here's our PSD. So here's our H1. We'll put it in here. And Affinity always adds a little extra markup that we don't need, so I just delete it. Let's see here. Are you not formatted? Why won't you format? Okay. Let's see. How does did it come through okay? Yeah, it came through okay. I don't know why it wouldn't format, so, but it seems to be okay. And do we have any inline styles we need to take out? I don't think so. So this is technically an inline style, but we don't want to remove these. I'm looking for anything where there's a fill or a stroke that would keep me from being able to change those using CSS. That's what I'm looking for. And I don't see any, so I think we're good there. Good. Okay, good. We have our logo. We need a color palette. I'm not crazy about this kind of greeny teal color. So let's just take one of our photos. Let's take one of our photos and use the Adobe color extract a theme. Let's see here, and let's pick a photo. This might be a good one. Some blues and reds and oranges. Yeah. Let's try this one. Oh yeah. I for sure like this. We're also gonna have to make sure that we've got good contrast. I like this too. I'm down with this. So let's do the color contrast checker. So we're going to work under the assumption that our background is white, which it pretty much is. And we're going to pray, say a little prayer that some of these work. Nice. Yes. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Okay. So let's actually start a CSS file here so we can document some of these. No, not, yeah, that was the right place. So we can start to document our variables. Oh, and I didn't actually, boy, I'm all over the place here today. Let's get our fonts in here. That is old. Why isn't anything formatting on save? Did something happen overnight to VS Code? I swear I didn't change anything. So why isn't anything formatting on save? It was working yesterday, right? Yeah, everything was working yesterday. Alt F. I have Shift Control Option Command. What's the Mac version of Alt? Alt Control F. Option Control F? That's literally has never happened to me. That happens to me sometimes. It doesn't work properly until I relaunch Live Server. Okay, let's try that. Actually, let's just do the good old-fashioned turn it off and turn it on again. How about that? Okay. Let's try it again. No, it's still not formatting on save. Prettier is not working. Prettier is not working. Okay, that's going to be extremely annoying. So let's check it. VS Code prettier, not formatting on save. Okay. Enable format on save. Open VS Code settings, files, preferences, settings. Search for editor format on save. Ensure the checkbox is selected. File preferences, settings. Format on save. Yeah, it's checked. So why is it not working? Shift Option F. Nope, that doesn't work either. Okay, I think it said here, format with configure default formatter. We'll just do that. Oh yeah. Yeah, the live server's working. It's not formatting the HTML. So let's see if that works now. Okay, that works now. I just chose a new formatter. Sorry about that, but come on, this is like the life of a developer. Am I right? You just wake up one morning and sit down to start working and things just suddenly don't work the way they were yesterday. This is normal life, right? Okay, what were we even doing? Okay, so let's start with some base styles. Let's grab our fonts snippet. This is going to be fun to edit. Okay, so there's that. Okay. Oh, you didn't know about auto formatting. Yeah, auto formatting is amazing. You don't want to do that shit yourself, right? Okay. So let's do, we'll just do some base styles. Sorry for the swears, but that's just how I'm feeling, I guess, this morning. That's how I feel when I wake up and things just don't seem to be working right. And then we'll do a gray. And we'll do a light gray. And then we'll call this red. I very much like this color palette. And then this is, so we'll say that this is, so we're going to say normal text AA, just so we can remember. Normal text AA. What's next? Then we have blue. I love a good blue. Love a good blue. Ooh, look at that. Normal text AAA. And we have a nice baby blue. This will be a good accent. Obviously fails everything. Call this baby blue. So we'll say accent only. Yeah, this is also going to be accent only, so we'll just call this tan. And this is another reason why I really, really love these low fidelity mockups, because of this. I love this process of, should we call this like orange? I love this process of, I used to hate choosing colors, but this made it so much easier, especially just color picking from a photo, getting a color palette that I personally found aesthetically pleasing, and then going through and figuring out what is accessible and what easy. It's like what is accessible and what isn't, and then it's just so many fewer decisions that I have to make. Yeah, so I've learned to really enjoy this process. So this is large text AA. Large text AA, which is equal to 18.66 pixels. 18.66 pixels. And there is our color palette. I love it. I love a good blue. I really just love a good blue. So I love orange, I love red, I love all the colors. So, okay. I don't think we need this anymore. And then let's turn, where is VS Code? Right here. Here's our page. Okay, so we started our style.css. We grabbed our fonts. We grabbed our color palette. We know what is and isn't accessible. We've got images. I did go through also and pick some media files because we've got, why can't I get back to my normal screen? Oh, it's right here. Because there's, in this design, we also have, well, we have a slider, which I did find photos for the slider. We have an audio file and we have a video. So let me show you what I chose for these. Excuse me. They have nothing to do with Italy. They're just something. they're just something that I chose that I really like. I will say, oh, why can't I find anything? Okay. Lately, so I used to pay for music, like music for like when I was vlogging and things like that. It's very expensive and nobody watches my vlogs. Like let's just be real. Nobody watches my vlogs. I don't think a single vlog has gotten more than 100 views. So, and I also I don't love making them. So that's, we learned something making vlogs. Anyways, Creator Mix is a website that is owned and maintained by Nick Nimmin. He's got a big YouTube channel. He's like a YouTuber that talks about, that like teaches YouTube to people, but he does it in a way that isn't like smarmy or salesy. Like he seems like a really nice guy, and he's into YouTube and he's been on the platform for a long time. Anyways, him and his brother, they built this site and all of the music is open source and free. Which is just, it's so amazing. So when Artlist came up for renewal, I didn't want to renew it. It's like hundreds of dollars a year. So I canceled that and I'm just going to use his music. I'm just going to use Creator Mix music. Now they don't have as big of a catalog. They're still building their catalog, but they do have some really good music, and they have this category called 80s retro, and I am so here for it because I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and I am so nostalgic for anything 80s to a point. To a point. But yes, we love free. We love free, which, to be very clear, I am happy to pay for things if I get value out of it. But like, I think Artlist is a great example of how I wasn't really getting value out of it, even though I did enjoy some of their music. Also, I'm not making any money on YouTube. Like I'm not making any money on YouTube right now. So I need free resources as much as possible. Anyways, they have this category called 80s retro. I absolutely love it. So I picked this song, and hang on, and I've learned how to control the volume. So I don't think this will be that loud. I can't. I love it. I love it so much. It just reminds me of like a Steven Seagal movie from the 80s. I don't know. I'm so here for it. So that's going to be our audio track. And then also, I don't know if people like real Tron. Yes, it makes me feel like I'm in a Tron game. There's that too. Yes. So so NASA, I am kind of a space nerd. I know that sounds a little cliche to say. I love anything that is like, anything that talks about like the universe or outer space or multiverses or string theory or like physics. I'm like not good at science, but I love science, and I have watched hours and hours and hours of science and like anything related to like outer space and the universe and anything like that on YouTube. There's so much of that content. It's one of the things that I love about YouTube. Anyways, NASA, is an administrative agency of the government. Administrative agencies are kind of like a fourth branch of the US government. NASA is fully funded by the taxpayers. Everything that they do is for the taxpayers. It is in essence open source and available to the taxpayers, everything that they do. So they have a ton of, like, NASA has their image of the day. They have lots and lots of videos. The video that I play at the very end of the stream, I got that from NASA. That's one of their illustrations. And I'm kind of like fascinated by black holes. So they had these two videos of like what a simulated black hole would look like, and I thought they were kind of cool. So there's this one, and then there's this one. And I thought these were kind of cool. So they have nothing to do with Italy. I chose these videos before I went with the whole Italy theme. But I like them. So I'm probably going to edit those two videos together, and that will be our video. So, and Malik says, I watch astronomy videos while I walk on my treadmill. I have loved astronomy since I was 5, so I get you. Yeah. The content on YouTube related to just the universe and outer space and like the vastness of it and how big it is, I can't get enough of it. I really, really love it. So, and like I said, there's a lot of that type of content on YouTube. So anyways, though that's the video that I chose. I need to edit it. I need to edit those two clips together, and that's the music that I chose for these two clips. So, but I don't think we're going to get to that today, because I think we're going to spend pretty much the rest of the day today. Yeah, we're already like 37 minutes in here. We're going to spend the rest of the day today probably just working on the header. So, and excuse me for one more moment. All right, so I think we're ready to finally start styling. But first, let's do some base styles. Let's do some base styles. Oh, good. I'm glad you like them. Check out NASA if you're looking for videos or illustrations, things like that. So they got good stuff on the NASA website. Okay, so let's start with, no, not the body, Angela. Let's start with HTML and box sizing, not content box, border box. And then we'll do wildcards for before and after. Wildcards and before and after. We'll also set this to box sizing, border box. And then for the body, I'm going to say padding 0, margin 0, and then let's add our fonts. Oh, actually, we did not grab both, did we? We also need, do we need all of these layout styles? Probably not. Maybe we could be a little more intentional with what we choose here. So for sure we want regular 400. Let's take bold. I mean, I don't think I'm going to use light anywhere. So let's just grab these two. That'll be a little easier. Then we don't have to load everything. Oh, and we forgot to grab Normalize. So Normalize is a browser reset. It's been around for a while. Helps smooth out those styles that are not consistent among the browsers. And I'm going to put that before our style sheet. All right. There we go. Oh, and Edwin is here. Hello, welcome. Thank you. Happy to have you and glad you can join us today. We are just getting started on some vanilla CSS for our new project. Settle in, grab a cup of coffee, ease into the day, or ease out of the day, depending on where you are in the world. Let's just relax a little bit. You know what I mean? Okay, so we are going to add Lato regular as our default font on the body, and then we will do Playfair for the headings. Lato does not, I do want to include optical font optical sizing. And then I'm going to say font size 100%. Line height will be, every single time I have to always type out line height. Line height will be 1.65, which is a unitless value. It's meant to be a multiple of your font size. I think the browser will accept a unit value like pixels or rems, but it's really meant to be a unitless value. And then we're going to say color, black, and a background color of white. Make sure that you're always setting your background color. If you leave it unset, it's essentially transparent, and your user may have a browser setting that could kind of screw up the look and feel of your site without it. So, and I think that's everything for the body tag. So let's get started with header. And let's make some observations here. So we have this top banner. I don't think this is like sticky or fixed. I think it's in the flow. So we don't need to do anything like that. Once we get everything styled, I would be open to maybe like on scroll, we like just show this bottom part, right? Maybe something like, we could do something like that, but let's wait until we get the header styled in its entirety and we get some of the rest of the page styles in place to make that decision. I don't really want to do that now. I want to be more focused just on the overall responsive styles and desktop styles of the header. So, yeah. And I think also this header is going to need a wrap, which I overlooked yesterday. So we'll do that now. Oh, and I haven't done any of my global styles yet either. What is wrong with me today? Okay, so let's do some global styles. Figures. We'll say margin 0. And then for the images, we'll say display block, because images are display inline by default. And we'll say max width 100%. Height auto. That makes those images nice and responsive. Changing them to display block makes it a lot easier to style. For our SVGs, I'm also going to make these display block. SVGs by default are also display inline. And I'm going to give them a width of 3 rems and a height of 3 rems, just as a base style. And then just to get a sense of whether or not our SVGs have fill or stroke, I'm just going to do a little experiment. So let's do fill blue and stroke red. And then let's just take a look at our page and see what's what, just so we have an idea of what is what. So what did we say here? Stroke is red. So our menu buttons have stroke, not fill. Our slider previous and next buttons have stroke, not fill. These are the icons for the audio and video. These have fill. These have fill. These are, do these not have either? Okay, so I think we need to clear the default styles for these because we are not able to style these with CSS. That's because these have an inline style. So that's a great example. We have to go clear those. And these are the social media icons. And our YouTube SVG is not showing up. So let's see why. So these are our X icons in the footer. These are the quote icons in the footer. Okay. Let's see what's happening. So here's GitHub. Here's YouTube. Why isn't the, oh, SVG. Let's see here. We had a typo. Okay, good. So these are all fill. And the X icon should also be fill. Let's go up here a little bit. Yep, right here. So fill current color. So we want to take out anything that has current color. So I'm just going to select everything on the page and I'm deleting the value. I am not deleting the attribute. There we go. So our quotes are also fill. Our X icon is also fill. So there we go. Okay, that is that. See, now we have that all sorted out. You have no idea the hours of my life that I've spent messing around with SVGs, not being able to understand why I couldn't get them styled the way I want. And it's because until it was honestly very recently that I figured out that I even bothered to look at what the default display property of an SVG was. And once I learned that it was display inline, it changed everything. And I started setting it to display block, putting kind of a default width and height on it just to rein in my document so I didn't have a crazy document with huge icons, and understanding what's a fill, what's a stroke, and clearing the inline styles. Once I started doing those things, it changed my life. Literally changed my life. That's not even me being dramatic. It's just me being real. So, okay, well, maybe it's a little dramatic, but okay, so now buttons. So I tend to clear the button styles with, I just say padding 0, border none, and background color transparent. And that pretty much takes care of button styles. Buttons by default are display inline block, which makes them really, really easy to style. Occasionally I have to make them display block, but rarely. Usually inline block works really, really well. And by clearing these styles, I can also go ahead and style anchor links, because sometimes you have a button, which is an action. Sometimes you have an anchor element, which is a link. But they could be styled any way. It doesn't matter what the markup is. You just want to be able, so sometimes it could be a link, but it looks like a button. Sometimes it looks like a link, but it functions like a button, and that's completely fine. But I want to make it super flexible. So what I've decided now to start doing is making my anchor links display inline block. I usually end up changing them to inline block. They're inline by default. And I've been changing them. So what happens is that I just find myself in a situation where I need it to be inline block. So I'm just going to start making it inline block. So then buttons and anchor links will both be inline blocks, and I can really easily apply styles to either one. So, I'm going to say display. I hope that makes sense. Display inline block. And then text decoration, color. I think by default, what do we want our links to be? I usually go with blue because I just like it. What's the orange? Remind me what the orange is. Large text only. We could make our links red. Are we that bold? Are we that bold? Okay, good. Malik says yes, that makes sense. Okay, no, I gotta go with blue. I'm gonna stick with blue. Just for the links. Well, how about this? Why don't we make our navigation red? That would be so cool. And then we'll make some red buttons too. Yeah. And then maybe we'll do orange titles. It's going to look like a circus. It's going to look like a circus when we're done. But it's going to be amazing. Okay, I'm going to stick with blue, and I am going to leave them underlined by default. Because we did that last time and I really liked it. And we'll make the thickness 2 pixels. And the text underline offset, I usually do 3 pixels. And then the color is blue. And then we'll do a focus, hover, active. And the transition is going to be from a blue underlined to a transparent underline. So we'll say text, decoration, color, transparent, and then we'll transition that. (300 milliseconds), ease in out. Nice. That works. And then let's update this. Although we could leave it and that would know if we missed, then we'd know if we missed anything, right? No, we'll change this to black. There we go. And then let's do one button style. So what I've been doing, and it's been working really well, is whatever the first button is, that's the default button style, and I just give it a class of button. We have 3 button styles. We have this, and we have this. So we will do all 3 button styles, but I'm going to just define this as one button style right here. And yeah. So I'm going to come down here. and just say class of button. I mean, we have 3 buttons on the entire page. We do have links. Oh, maybe we want the links to be not underlined by default. Should we, that, because these I interpret as being links. Yeah. Yes. So whatever, because generally, whatever the first button in the design is, I make as the basic default button style. Because there's generally more than one button styles or colors, and we'll do all the styles, but you need to pick something to be the default, so I just pick the first one. That's how I do that. So but I just changed my mind based on this link right here in the footer, which does not have an underline. So I'm going to make the default link style transparent and the hover blue. Yeah, right here. I have some more images to replace. Okay. And then let's make this button. So this button it's kind of a standard button. And any cases we forgot the underline. I don't think so. We have the underline. So the underline is on hover. I switched it. Okay, so for buttons, I'm going to do padding of 1 rem on the top and bottom and 2 rems on the left and right. I might adjust that. Border, I'm also going to do a 2 pixel border. Solid. And we're going to make it a red button. Background color will be transparent. The color will be red. Text transform will be uppercase. We'll do a little bit of letter spacing, 1 pixel. And I don't think this is bold text, but let's just see how it looks. And then let's put our button class oh, we have a button class there. Here. So here's our button. So now we just need to do our hover styles. And I like that size. That works. We can adjust it if we need to. But I am going to take off the text decoration. So that'll get rid of the, yeah. And then we'll do button focus, button hover, and button active. And the background color Whoops. The background color will be red, and the color will be white. And then let's transition. And I'm just going to use all 300 milliseconds, ease in, out. There we go. There's our button styles. I like this. I like this color. Okay, what other default styles do we need? I think we need an access hidden. And I never remember these styles, so I'm going to grab it from a previous project. Let's see here. What was our last project? Was the home page clone. Oh, and we have to do our default heading styles. What else did we do here? Yeah, we can set the margin for the paragraph tags. I'm going to wait to do that and see how things go. So that'll clear a ton of, yeah, that clears a lot of stuff now. Look how that's a lot neater and tidier. Yeah, for now, we always end up adding to our base styles. For now, this is just fine. Perfect. Well, let's do the headings really quick. We'll do the headings really quick here. So we've got an H1, an H2, and an H3. And we'll set these to Playfair. The font weight, I'm going to set to normal for now. And I'm going to change the line height to 1.25 because I always end up changing that. I'm also going to change the margin, which I always end up changing too. By default, the browser puts margin on the top and bottom, and I'm just going to change it to 1 rem of margin on the bottom, and we can adjust that if we need to. And I think that's going to work great. Okay, I think we finally have our base styles. Yeah. Okay, now we can start on the header. So first we have our top banner, although for the header, let's just make sure, well, it's a black level element. Oh, and look, our body actually has this light gray color. Yeah, so let's change the body color to this light gray. Let's change the body color to light gray. And then the header can be, then we can style the individual elements with white. Yeah, that works. And Ani is asking, Your first videos you were using Sass. Why did you change the technology to don't forget the CSS? So I think you're just asking why I switched. I don't know if I have a good reason why. I remember this summer I was trying to record tutorials because I thought that's what dev YouTubers did. And I hated it. I was like, this sucks. I don't like making this type of video. I'm not good at it. Nobody watches them. There's so many other people doing it a lot better than I can. What I really, really love doing is just building things and just like recording myself building things. That's what I like doing. But what I discovered through making tutorials is because I did Sass for every single thing, I just felt like in order to use Sass or teach Sass to beginners, you had to like give so much context around like the compiler and installing Sass and things like that. And I was like, if I just use vanilla CSS, which I haven't done in years. I hadn't used vanilla CSS in years. And the couple times that I did it on this channel, I was like, I hate this because I was forgetting and I was nesting things and it was kind of a mess. And I was like, if I just switched to vanilla CSS, I think it would make the projects a lot easier. And then I thought about it for about a day and I was like, if I switch to vanilla CSS, I already use vanilla JavaScript. I wouldn't need anything. I wouldn't need any compiler. I wouldn't need Node or a package manager, or I wouldn't have to stay on top of like Sass changes over time. I've been using Sass for 12 years and things I did 12 years ago, I'm getting deprecation warnings now because it's like, yeah, this is going to be outdated in like 6 months if you don't rewrite some of these functions. And I was like, if I just use vanilla CSS, then I don't have to worry about stuff like that. And then like the more I thought about it, I was like, this is kind of actually perfect because I don't really see any other dev YouTubers doing this. And then the other thing I was running into is people coming into the chat who, in my opinion, were in tutorial hell. They were in courses and tutorial hell. Thank you for asking me this question because I am going to talk about this. I talk about it a lot already, but I'm going to talk about it again. I see a lot of people in the chat in courses and tutorial hell, and they're asking questions like, how long will it take me to get good at this? And how long is it going to take me to understand this? And how long is it going to take me to develop the correct mindset or to think correctly about how to do this? And then there was a gal here, her name was Bailey, and she hasn't been around for a while, which is people sort of float in and float out. That's completely fine. I understand that. But Bailey was getting increasingly frustrated. She was interviewing for jobs and she was being told like in interviews that she didn't understand this, so she wasn't suitable for the job. And that's just ridiculous to tell new junior developers that because you don't understand CRUD or you don't know what a course function is, that you're not ready to be a junior developer. That's absolute bullshit. And I just see people getting so frustrated. And my experience tells me that those are things that you learn on the job in real world situations. You don't need a course to learn CRUD. You don't need a tutorial to learn cores. The best way to learn that is to be working on a project and to run into that problem and to figure out how to solve that problem to get your project moving forward. That's how development works. That is the best way to learn. And so by being vanilla only, it gives you a base foundation, a core layer of skills. And once you understand the core layer of skills, you understand display properties, positioning, specificity, inheritance. You know the difference between a rem and an m and why one is better than the other. You understand media queries. You understand how to make a global style and modify it later if you need to. It doesn't matter what framework you use. It doesn't matter what library you use. If you understand core basic concepts, you can adapt quickly and learn anything as you go. Because once you get a job at especially at an agency, it might be different in like an organization where you're supporting the organization internally. But if you do agency work in particular, agencies have years worth of clients that they continue to support with legacy code. So you, and especially as a new developer, you are going to get the shit projects, the shit tasks when you come there. They'll never say that to the client, but it's the stuff that their premier top level developers aren't going to be working on. The new developers, the junior developers, you're going to get your feet wet on the legacy code, the spaghetti CSS files. And if all you know how to do is Tailwind, you're screwed. You're not going to be able to do it. You have to understand display properties. You have to understand positioning. You have to understand how to write a media query. You have to know the difference between min width and max width and why one is better or what they mean. And the only way to do that is to build projects with vanilla CSS. I cannot emphasize this enough. It's going to save you. I'm swearing so much today, but it's just the mood, I guess. It's going to save your ass once you get those initial jobs. Even in an organization where you're supporting the what's going on internally. Like the last job I had was at the University of St. Thomas for 7 years. We were not an agency, but we kind of operated like an agency in that we supported the schools and colleges internally, right? We had a law school, we had a business school, we had the College of Arts and Sciences, we had the engineering college, things like that. They all had their own websites and they all had their own products and projects. And those things have been developed over many, many years with many, many different types of technologies because front end moves fast. So this is like my rationale. These are the things that I observed people coming into the chat and the types of comments that I was getting. And this is also my experience working with junior developers, because I can think of one junior developer in particular that was tens of thousands of dollars in debt from a boot camp. She could build React apps. She didn't understand basic CSS. They spent like a day talking about it. They taught her frameworks and libraries. She didn't know how to write basic CSS, and she was a nightmare to work with. She was a lovely human. Charming, charismatic, a good human being. She was an awful developer. She didn't know how to do anything, and she didn't think she even needed to know how to do those things, and it was a nightmare. So if I'm not saying that frameworks and libraries aren't good, I know why they're important. I know why organizations use them, but I need you to understand the basics, because it's just going to take you where you need to go in your career as a front-end developer. And this is my last point. I happen to think it's fun. I used to hate doing vanilla CSS. In fact, in the early days of streaming, we did a front-end mentor project. Somebody asked me to do a front-end mentor project. It was the product list with cart, I think. And he said, will you please just do vanilla CSS? And I remember the day I started that stream, I was like, you asked me to do vanilla and I will do vanilla, but I really don't want to. I wanted to do Sass. So I did vanilla and the project turned out great. I didn't have any trouble with it. But I was like, what doing vanilla helped me realize is that because I've been using Sass for such a long time, my nesting was insane. I mean, one of the problems I was having so much problem with my managing specificity and inheritance is because I'd been nesting things so deeply and getting so over specific with my class names that I was actually not a clean, tidy developer at all. And switching to vanilla CSS boy, that cleared that up. I mean, if you watch my last set of streams, basically starting in July this last year, so what, the last 4 months, I think my CSS skills have improved more in the last 4 months. They are the best they've ever been because I did that. So there's that. Listen, if you, I'm not going to shut up about this. You guys need to know vanilla CSS. There's nothing wrong with a good framework or a library, but you got to know the basic stuffs. And just as a senior level developer who has managed junior level developers, I'm absolutely fed up with cleaning up after junior developers. It's one thing to not know it. It's another thing to have like this attitude that it's not important to know it. That's what I can't stand, because I will teach it to you. I will show you what you need to do to learn it and to do it well. But when you have the attitude that you can't be bothered or you don't think it's important, I absolutely have no patience for that, and I'm not going to deal with that anymore. So that's where I stand on this issue. So, well, you guys got me on a sassy day today. So, and Malik is agreeing with me. Malik, honestly, Malik, if I had had you as a junior developer, I think my life would have been so much different. I would be delighted to have you as a junior developer. You're great. And Ani K, you're welcome. Listen, it's my channel, so I can rant as much as I want, right? And Ani says, I like using vanilla, but sometimes it gets too long. That's fair. I mean, listen, on some of my projects too, it gets long, and I'm just like, good Lord, like how many lines long is this going to be? So, thank you, Monique. I think Monique hangs out here because she likes the opinionated stuff. I think Monique enjoys the opinionated stuff. So, and I have definitely found we are like-minded in that Monique and I both feel very strongly in understanding the basics, and that it's necessary to do the hard work in order to do the learning. It really is. It is necessary to do the hard work in order to really learn how to do it. And if you have a desire to do it and to be good at this, I recommend that you don't need to do everything vanilla like I do, but please build 1 or 2 things with vanilla CSS, and it will, if you have a desire to learn it and understand it, you'll be able to. You'll be able to. So, okay, well, that was fun. Where were we? We're on the header. Okay. Well, I'm going to get some shorts out of that rant, aren't I? Yes, I am. Okay, so our background is this light gray color, and we're going to make our sections white as needed. This is a good observation here. So, and I'm going to make we'll make the header white, but I will specify this top banner also as light gray. So, and I don't think there's really that much we need to do here with the header style wise. A header is a block level element. It's already with the 100%. I think we might want to put in some styles for our wrap. So I think, do we have guides here? We do. So what is this? I think we have, do I have a guides? And Ani's saying the video containers are gray too. Well, I think the gray for the video and images are just placeholders. So we are putting images in here. So I think the gray are just placeholders for images. That's how I'm interpreting that. Let me see here. Window. Where's our guides? I know that there's like a guide. Here we go. So I think this is 375. And I think this is, can I highlight this one? Well, it's the last one, so it's probably 960. Let's see here. No, wait a second. That's not what it is. What is this? Okay. We'll just say 1550 minus 375. $1175. Let's just make it 1200 pixels. No, we can do 1175. We'll do 1175. Okay, so 1175 divided by 16, 73.4375 rems. All right. So we'll do a, I did this last time too. I'm going to do a width of 73.4375 rems. I'm going to do a max width of a calculated value, 100% minus 2 rems. And then we'll do margin 0 auto. And then that automatically gives us a margin of 1 rem on either side without needing to apply padding. That has worked really well in my last couple of projects, so I'm going to do that again here. And then this is, we'll put a note here, that this is 1175 pixels. Yes. Okay, so now let's do the top banner. And we'll have to change the background color to light gray. And we don't need to flexbox anything up here. So here's our top nav, because we only have one element. Well, we don't have to flexbox the containers. We're going to flexbox this. And so we'll say padding 0, margin 0, list style type is none, and then we'll do display flex. Flex flow row no wrap. Justify content. This is going to be flex start. We'll align items, center, and gap. So these have like a little dot in between. We may not want to do gap. Maybe we'll do like a pseudo element instead. Yeah, that'll be fun. Let's do that. Oh, and we can't do we have to do individual wraps around each thing, or we're not going to be full width. Okay. No problemo. So here's our top banner. That means our wrap has to go here. Wait a second. Missing a div. There we go. This does not need, the logo doesn't need a wrap. We can just center that. our nav container will need a wrap. Wrap. There we go. And Ani is asking margin left. No, I don't think so. I don't think I need margin left. It's already, well, it's already defaulting to the left, but I'm just going to add flex start to keep it on the left. Oh, I think you might be asking about the space in between. So let's go ahead and we'll do that next. So here's our top nav, and we're going to do it in between the LIs. So we'll do top nav, LI, and we'll do after. And we're going to put in content, and I'm just going to put in a bullet just like that. And I'm going to say display inline block. So I can add margin and padding. And then we want margin and padding. So it's on the right. So it would be margin. Well, I'm going to do padding first. Padding, right, 1 rem. Margin, right, 1 rem. Oh, you're right, it is on the left. So I think we want padding left. Yeah, just like that. And then we'll give this a color of gray. Oh, we could make that a little darker. Should we give that one of our, maybe let's give it tan, one of our accent colors. It's not a UI element, so we don't need to worry about anybody clicking on it. Yeah, we'll go with tan. And then let's give this top banner a little bit of padding. So maybe 0.5 rems on the top and bottom. And then we'll make them uppercase and give them a little bit of letter spacing. So we'll say text transform uppercase and then letter spacing 1 pixel. They're blue. They're the color that we gave them. But should we make them a different color? We could just make them black. Yeah, let's just keep them as black. Oh, and we have to take out the last of type. Top nav, LI. So it's LI, last of type, after. Yeah. I like that. And then let's change the color of the underline. So this is the anchor link. This is the focus. The hover. the active, and it's the text decoration color is going to be black. Love it. Whoop. All right. Let's get this logo styled. It looks so weird. Let's also make sure that we have, we need some text with a span. We'll do class access hidden. And then we're going to say this is the Italia. It's the name of our site. Just like that. So this is the primary heading SVG. Primary heading SVG. It's already a display block. So let's give this a width of, I don't know, 300 pixels and some margin, 0 auto. Ooh, we can go bigger than that. I mean, how big is this? Roughly like 175. And we definitely are going to need some margin. Let's do 2 rems of margin on the top and bottom. That's it. That's how big that is. Oh, hang on. We have to give it some, we have to do height auto. Height auto. And max width 100%. There we go. There's our logo. That's a logo right there. That's a logo. Yeah, now we can maybe rein that in a little. Beautiful. So that's 300 pixels. Love it. Perfect. I mean, there's more space here, I think, in the mock-up. But this logo is pretty big. We don't need to take up any more time. So I think we should definitely plan on some sort of on scroll. We'll do another intersection observer, I think, on scroll, so we can animate like making this a little smaller and sticky. So I think that would be a good plan. So did I answer your question by what I did here? So hopefully I did, Ani. And Malik is off for the day. We will see you next weekend, Malik. Yes? Okay. Very good. So far, so good. I love this. Okay. So we're going to work on our navigation now. First thing I'm going to do is hide these buttons. So we're going to hide menu button on desktop. We don't need it till we get to mobile. Okay, good. Good. So now we have our navigation, main nav. And we still have a search to style as well, but let's at least get the navigation in line. And you know, it's really similar to what was going on up here at the top. So let's get it. I kind of wanted the navigation to be red. So let's just see how it goes. we'll just see how it goes. So for the main nav, we're going to say padding 0, margin 0, and the list style type is none. Remove those default unordered list styles, and then we'll say display flex. Flex flow is row, no wrap. Justify content. We're going to do flex start again. Keep it on the left. Align items. Whoops. Center. And I am going to give, oh no, we can't give it a gap. We're going to put those dots in between again. So let's borrow these styles. We're going to do this again. How do you do a hollow disk? I'm going to try to figure out how to do like a an open bullet point. So this is going to be main nav. And our nav element needs some padding and a border. We just have to remember to account for that in our mobile styles. So our nav element is going to need some padding. Say 2 rems on the top and bottom, 0 on the left and right. And then I'm going to put a box shadow. I think you can see this here. I'm going to put a box shadow on the header and a border on the top of the nav. So we'll do border top, 1 pixel, solid, and we'll do gray. And then for our header, I mean, should we just make the header at like sticky? Let's just make it sticky so we can scroll with it. And then we'll do an animation once we write what was I lost my train of thought. I'm going to make this sticky. Top 0, left 0. We do have to add these things for sticky. And then let's add position relative to the body. Whoops. And then let's also do a box shadow. So it's 0 on the x-axis, 1 pixel on the y-axis, 1 pixel of spread, 1 pixel of blur, and then we'll do RGBA black with 10% opacity. There we go. Oh, and we have our wrap in the wrong place. So the wrap should really be, do we need a wrap? You know what I think we can do? I think the wrap is going to have to go around. If we want the no, I think we can just put the border on the nav container. We can just put the border and the padding on the nav container rather than changing all this markup. Oops. What is happening with my trackpad? Hang on. Maybe nav container instead. Let's change this. Yeah, that's the better move. And then nav container is the container. We'll do Flexbox again. Well, no, we're going to do Flexbox on the wrap. So we'll do display flex. Flex flow is row, no wrap. Justify content, space between, align items, center, and we shouldn't need any gap. There we go. Okay, let's finish these nav items. So it's main nav, anchor element. And color, I don't know if red's going to work. We're going to try it. Text transform is uppercase. And letter spacing is 1 pixel. I love it. I'm into it. I love it. One moment. What do we think? We just need to change the underline. So the focus, the hover, the active, text decoration, color will be red. There we go. All right, let's style this search input. So here's our form with a class of form. Probably should give this. Oh, I had something else that I noticed yesterday that I wanted to change here. So for the button with a class of submit and a type of submit, ARIA label search the site. I think this should be ARIA label submit. Because the label for the input is search the site, but the button is submit. That's what the button does. Yeah. So our label is hidden with screen reader friendly text. So really we have an input and we have a button. So the button is going to be, so the form, let's be a little more specific. This is going to be search form. I think that's a better class for that. We'll say position relative. Don't even think we need to do anything else there. And this will be the input type equals search. Width 100%. We'll say padding 1 rem. This doesn't really have anything going on here. Let's just do 1 underline. We got to do something here. We got to do something. Let's do 1 underline. So we'll say border none, and then border bottom 1 pixel solid, and then I'm going to do orange. Let's see how it looks. It gets focus. We could probably tighten up that padding a little. Maybe 0.5 rems on the top and bottom, 0 on the left and right. Yeah. And then we'll style our button. I'm going to make the button orange too. Why not? I love orange. So we have submit, position, absolute, top 50%, right 0, transform, translate on the y-axis, negative 50%. And then we have to style the SVG. So submit SVG is going to be, let's give it a, the tab target has to be 48 by 48. So if we make the icon 1.5, that's 0.75 padding. So we'll give the button some padding. .5 rems. Height is 1.5 rems. Oh, it's got a stroke. So the button is going to need some padding. 0.75 rem. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work. I have no idea what this is going to look like. Oh, that looks okay. And we need to give it some cursor. I'm going to try really hard to not make this look like a Ronald McDonald website, but no promises because we have some color. We have some color. And the tab target for our buttons 48 by 48. It's nice and big. Let's make the input. We do need to make sure that that input is as big. I think it should be have as much height as the tap target. So we just have to increase the padding, I think, to 0.75 instead of 0.5, and it'll be fine. Oh, it also has, I bet it has line height. What's, yeah, the line height by default is 1.15 for an input. But it also says that's what it is for buttons. Okay, so 1.15 is the line height for an input. 1.15 is the line height for a button. But there's no text in our button. It's an SVG, and I set the height, the width and the height. That's why that math isn't mathing. Okay, I'll do 0.95. Let's see here for the input, 0.95. Okay. That doesn't look too crazy. And then this fits nicely inside here. What do we think? I think we have a little too much padding here around this navigation. So let's try 1. Yeah, that looks a little better. Okay. I don't really want to dive into mobile styles right now for the header. We'll do that next week. I think what I would like to do, oh, and Anike says that the search needs some width. You think it should be wider? We can make it a little wider. So right now the width is 169.5 pixels. What are forms? They are display block by default. So we will give this I'm going to give this a width of 200 pixels, and then we'll just say max width of 100%. There we go. The last thing that I want to do today is I just want to get this hero section roughly styled, and then we'll be ready next weekend to dive into the mobile styles for the header. So let's do that really quick. So this is our hero. Really quick, we're going to do it. So the hero wrap. I'm going to display, do Do we want to display flex or do we want a flex box? Do we want to, or excuse me, columns? Do we want to do columns or flex box? Let's do columns. So if I'm looking at this, I'm gonna say that this is like 1 FR, and then this would be 2 FR. So we would be like 2 to 1. So I'm gonna say display grid template columns. I'm going to say 1 FR, 2 FR, and then we'll give this a gap of 2 rems. Why didn't anything happen? Usually it's because of my images, so we might have styled the image here first. Oh, because I put a comma in there, I bet. There we go. So let's just quickly continue to style this. We can do this fast. So this is our hero figure. And the image is already a square. But I'm still going to put an aspect ratio on this. So I'm going to say width 100%, height auto. And then that way you could put any image in there and it would just work. Aspect ratio 1. And then I'm going to say overflow hidden. Because we're going to put a border radius. And then our hero image is going to be width 100%, height 100%, object fit cover, and then we'll do a border radius 50%. Yeah, that looks about right. And then let's make sure that our section has enough padding. Maybe 4 rems. That looks all right. And then this is also has a background color of white, and it clearly has margin. So let's give this some margin of maybe 2 rems all the way around. Yeah. It styles itself. This button is pretty big. I think we need to adjust our default button styles. I had a feeling I would have to do that. So let's try 0.75 on the top and bottom and 1.5 on the left and right. Yeah, that looks a little more reined in. And then let's make sure that I think our H2s could be a little bit bigger. So let's do some styles for secondary headers. I'm going to come right here, put this in our global styles. Whoop. Secondary heading. So the default, what are these? What's the default here that the browser is giving it? I didn't set a size. So the default font size is 1.5 ems. We'll probably end up clamping this when we make this responsive, but for now, let's just do a font size of 3 rems. I like that. Nice. What do we think? Yeah, we'll definitely put in some scrolling. So we'll add on scroll, we'll add like a class to the body, like a scrolled body class, and then we can animate and tighten up that header for scroll. But I think this looks really nice. And I think instead of orange on this search, let's just make it red to match the navigation. Oh. Come on. Okay, there. Yeah. All right, let's get this committed. Pushed up to our repo. So we've got images, header styles, Hero styles. All right. I love it. I love it. Oh, and I think this comment was related to this. This is going to be a really fun one. I think this is going to be really fun. So we will for sure add intersection observer so we can capture that on scroll event, and we'll add like a scrolled class to the body. And we'll animate this header on scroll, and we will also finish doing all of the responsive styles for the header, including like a off-canvas navigation. So yeah, this looks great. We have a great start on this. This was great this weekend. I really enjoyed this. So all right, thank you to everybody who joined in today and hung out with me. Thanks to all the people in the chat. We had Ani, Malik, Monique, Edwin was here. It was a quiet day, but it was a good day. Do me a favor, if you haven't liked the video yet, please go ahead and do so. It helps the algorithm, helps me get this type of content pushed out to people who might be interested in front-end development, and helps me grow the channel. So thank you, Ani. I appreciate it. And I really appreciate your comments in the chat. Love that. David was here. Thank you, Angela. Have a lovely day. You too. You as well. Have a great day, everybody, wherever you are. I will see you next weekend. We will continue to work on this. And yeah, I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.